Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secrets to Plant-Based Living Summit, how to use food to have radiant health, mental clarity, and boundless energy. I'm your host, Sandra Cotto, and I've brought together 21 of the most influential doctors, athletes, authors, chefs, and coaches to help you understand what plant-based living looks like, what it can do for your health, and how you can transform your life to live more vibrantly. I'd like to welcome today's guest, Kathy Pollard. Kathy is a nutrition educator who taught for the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies for 6 years, which offers the renowned plant-based nutrition certification course through eCornell. She is adjunct faculty for the University of New England Graduate Program in Nutrition and co-founder of thesustainablediet.com, which supports a successful transition to a whole food, plant-based diet for health. Kathy, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sandra, for the invitation and for offering this great event for the public.
Thank you. No, we're happy to have you. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, a little bit more about maybe your accomplishments, something that I didn't mention in your bio.
Well, I am a nutrition educator. I've been that for about 10 years. I'd spent 6 years teaching for the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies certification course in plant-based nutrition, which has been such a great journey. Everywhere I go and speak, people who have taken that course, which has been in the tens of thousands now, remember what they've gotten out of it and their instructors, and it's just been an honor to be a part of that organization. I have been teaching nutrition for this time, and recently I've been doing a lot of research on food sustainability and the connection between our food choices and environmental degradation as well as climate change. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, and I speak at conferences. I just got back from a phenomenal conference called PPOD, which is Plant-Based Prevention of Disease, which is a training conference for professionals and is really an indication of how our understanding and our attitudes have evolved and changed to an understanding of how powerful plant-based food can be in healing and halting and even reversing diseases. And this is going to be the medical model for the future, which is using nutrition in order to combat diseases and symptoms of disease, which is common in our modern society. So I'm a little bit revved up and excited about that.
Yeah, I can totally agree that is super exciting. And you know, the scientific evidence behind it all and how a plant-based diet can really help improve and, like you said, reverse.
Yeah.
Myself, you know, my story has been where I have suffered for many, many years with allergies and asthma, and just changing my diet 4 years ago, going plant-based really helped me quite a bit. It was like the first time I was able to really smell and taste my food and,
Wow.
and really get rid of a lot of the medications that I was on. I was on like 4 different medications, you know, maintenance inhalers and allergy meds. And I'm happy to say that today I don't use half of those. When it's sometimes, you know, springtime, it gets a little bit, you know, with the pollen, I may have some issues here and there, but for the most part, it's been an amazing journey to be able to feel that I can, you know, run and do my, you know, athletic abilities and not have to feel like I have to have an inhaler. So, yeah.
Great. That was a great testimonial.
Yeah.
Well, also, I could say keep at it, because the body is an amazing thing. The body wants to continue towards health. That's its homeostasis. So the healing continues. I mean, the more we continue on this plant-based path, the more we refine it and stick with it, the more subtle changes occur, and you keep getting better. So I hear the same from my husband, in that his allergies have continuously gotten better and better, and he still has a touch of it at certain times of the year, but it keeps getting a little bit better every year. And that's just incredible. I just think that's really exciting.
Yeah. And, you know, being patient with the body, because the body, like you said, you know, give the body half the chance to heal, and it will heal. And it's just keeping at it and taking one day at a time. And being kind to yourself, right? That things are not
Yes.
going to happen overnight. Because when you think about it, I was on medications for years, 20 years or so. So you can't expect your body is going to change just overnight, but you can see the changes relatively pretty quickly, though, when you start changing your diet, you start eating more cleaner and more healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think you make a good point in that there is no firm one way to go to do it, and that there's a chance that you're doing it wrong. The concept is considering your overall dietary pattern, your day-to-day pattern that doesn't reflect perfection. What it means is that the more whole foods into your diet, the better, and the more control you have over your health. But that doesn't mean that there is any, wrong place to start or wrong way to add in good foods and eliminate the bad foods. It's just the more the better, and you need to go at you need to make it. That's what needs to be personalized, is the best way to adopt this diet for you. There isn't sort of a special diet for different different body types, but it's there might be a special way or a different level of integration that different people need to adopt in order to be successful.
Yeah, it's good advice. Everybody's different, right? Everybody's body's differently and will react differently to different foods and stuff. Great information. Yeah, and for me, the journey also started, as now being a plant-based eating health coach, was enrolling in Dr. Campbell's plant-based nutrition course 2 years ago. So it was a lot of really great information in the study, and his book, The China Study, as well. So tell us, yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that, yes, and since that course has started, there is so much, there's just such a wealth of information and support out there to adopt a plant-based diet. This summit is a great example. SustainableDiet.com is another example, and Peapod and other conferences are another example. And I'm just thrilled to see how this movement has evolved. And actually, so is Dr. Campbell. There are just so many followers like you who are helping to spread the word that it does make this way of eating more accessible to people. That in itself is exciting.
Very exciting, yes, and I'm so happy to be able to help spread that word, more and more, and hopefully we can reach over 100,000 people. So I know in some of the studies they talk about the cancer genes, turning them off and on through food, and some people, that I talk to, they go, oh no, if you were born and you have this disease in your family, then you're going to just have this disease for the rest of your life, and it's kind of like having the loaded gun, right? And then pulling the trigger. So what can you tell us a little bit more about that? Expand a little bit more on that so people have a better understanding.
Well, I mean, we all have genes, and we all have genetic predispositions to eye color, or diseases, or weight gain. There are many different, genes affect everything about our health and our body and our well-being. But environmental factors are what in large part turn them on or off when it comes to health and when it comes to variation. So you can be genetically predisposed for a disease, but it's your food that promotes it or controls it. So Dr. Campbell likes to say that genes genes are the what's the saying? Genes are the gun, and
right. Yeah, it's like having the loaded gun and whether you're going to pull the trigger or not, right?
Thank you.
Yes.
But you have to understand that, for instance, protein is a great example that's used. Protein is the formation of so many mechanisms in your body. It's the catapult to so many mechanisms, particularly growth. So when we eat a lot of protein, there's protein in our system that wants to grow things. And if we're fully grown, then it's going to go after trying to grow things that we may not want to, like cancer cells. So we are putting ourselves in a position of growing the cells that we don't want to. Many of the cancer cells or toxins in our body would naturally be cleared out or contained and just not do anything if we didn't promote them. IGF-1 is a very powerful growth hormone that we naturally make when we're children, but we don't need it afterwards. And when we continue to take it in from meat, we're continuing that process of, trying to force mechanisms that we may not need to do naturally. And we're just setting ourselves up for, dangers that we don't need to. And that's a great example of our food affecting our genetic predisposition for something.
Great. Yes. Thank you so much for that. So tell me a little bit about what is a sustainable diet?
Well, personally, a sustainable diet is a diet that provides optimal nourishment and maintains health, using resources and water and land most efficiently, I would say, and having a diet that provides the fuel that's most beneficial for your body to maintain health. So that would be personally. Now, globally, a sustainable diet would mean addressing food security and reducing hunger for populations most in a disadvantage. And it aims to provide nutritional security to the most number of people and populations. It considers water management and its efficiency, as well as its pollution. And it's a precious resource, water, that we take for granted in many parts of the Western world, but it's not, it has a limit, and this is something that is going to be a big concern in our future. So a sustainable diet in terms of the planet aims to maintain ecosystems around the globe, and it could be based on a variety of dietary patterns, but all of them generally would be and should be plant-based, because animal agriculture takes the most resources and the most fuel and energy to produce most inefficiently, producing the least amount of calories coming out from those going in. And a sustainable diet should optimize the health of populations around the world now, as well as for the future generations. And if we use up our resources now, they're not going to be there in the future for our generations in the future. So I guess also we would consider, when we think of a sustainable diet globally, that we should minimize environmental degradation and also transportation, and try and eat locally as much as we can. But a sustainable diet would aim to be able to maintain the health and feed the most people, and also consider the health of the environment as well.
Yeah, that was a great information, because people, it's not just about health, right? But it's about the earth and about, the animals as well. And, you think about the agriculture and then the runoff from, the waste of the animals and going into the oceans, and the deforestation that's going on, and the amount of land that we're using to grow these grains to feed, all of this livestock, where if you had a plant-based diet, you would use way less than what we're using today.
Yeah, you said it so well. It's true that animal agriculture livestock is the main reason for deforestation, not only for grazing, but for raising the food that we feed the animals that feed us. So it's quite an inefficient way to nourish human beings, using a lot of resources. But when you think of the diet itself, if you take it down to a personal level,
right,
it's not a difficult concept to understand what would be the most sustainable foods to eat and what would be a sustainable diet. It's difficult to implement in our society, and there are simple rules to understand what would be a healthy and sustainable. And I use those words together because sustainability, I think, should imply health for both personally as well as the planet, to go by. Very simple food rules, if you'd like. I'd be happy to share my 4 simple sustainable planet food rules with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
They're very simple. That's
Okay.
and after that, I can sum it up in maybe 4 words. And so the food rules are this. The number 1 is eat more whole plants. The more, the better. Eat whole plant foods. The second is don't sweat the small stuff, which means just what we were saying before. It's not perfection. If you go and you're at a birthday party and you have a cupcake, don't beat yourself up over it.
Right.
Just eat a better meal the next time. Don't sweat the small stuff. So number 3 is eat the rainbow, which infers the colors of produce and vegetables. So eat a variety of colorful produce, particularly grain, every day, because those colors are the same chemicals and represent the antioxidants that clean our bodies out, keep our blood clean, address toxins, boost our immunity, and keep us healthy. And that's what we don't. That's one of the 2 major. That's one of several elements in plant foods that we're not getting enough. But one of the 2 major, and the last one addresses my favorite topic, which is eat as much as you want, as long as the food has intact fiber. But be easy on the nuts, particularly if you're watching your weight or if you have cardiovascular issues. But where do we get fiber from? And that would be plants. Animal tissue does not have fiber, very little in dairy as well. And it's the intact fiber that regulates the macronutrients into our blood and cleans and scrubs our gastrointestinal tract and feeds the good microbiome in our gut. And we don't pay attention to fiber. We eat way too little fiber in our society, and all we have to do is eat the whole plants. So those are my 4 food rules I just wanted to share with you.
Yeah, I love them. They're simple, to the point. And number 3, where you said eat the rainbow. And that's something I constantly tell my clients and my friends when they say, well, what do I eat? And I said, eat colorful food, eat the rainbow, because you're getting a little bit of everything and all the nutrients that you're going to need. And also the biggest question, as you mentioned before, about getting fiber, people are so concerned about getting protein. And I said, the better question is, how much fiber are you getting, right? Keep everything moving, keep everything going. So those are
great point.
Yeah.
And when you're eating that, and when you're looking at these individual food parts, fiber, protein, if you're getting these from whole plant foods, you're getting them in the amounts that we need naturally to maintain health, to maintain optimal health. And you're getting all the other stuff, the good stuff that comes along with the fiber and protein in whole food that the body recognizes as whole food together, because the body doesn't recognize protein on its own, or fat or oil or vitamin C. It recognizes these elements, these nutrients, macro and micro, in a package. And that's what it's evolved, what our bodies are designed to take in and work with most efficiently.
Yeah, great points. I love it. So what are the factors in successfully changing your diet to a healthy one? And why do you think some people fail?
Well, that's a great question. This is where it might be a little more complicated than at first view. And that's because there are a lot of elements that we don't notice that are involved in changing your diet or eating more plant foods. And that's because we're dealing with behavior change. And for some people, it might be easy. Some people might decide they might see the movie Forks Over Knives, or they might have read an amazing book like A Plant-Based Life by Dr. Mikhail Carlson, or they have been told by their doctor that they need to lose weight and they just change. They're able to adopt new habits. But for most, there are many elements that lead into that, and that includes personal motivation. I mean, if your doctor tells you need to lose weight, that may not be enough. You need to have your own internal personal desire for change, whatever that could be. And then people lack skills like cooking. Most people aren't used to getting in the kitchen and cooking. And honestly, the more people do that and take control of their own food, the more they have control of their own health. Where do you start if you're used to fast food? You know, that's a hurdle. People have to understand what good foods to add in and how to eliminate the bad foods that aren't serving them. But a big one is that people don't realize how important it is to have social support around them in order to make such behavior change. And a lot of people are doing it on their own, or may not have that support and understand. Doesn't mean that everybody you know, or even anyone, needs to be on the same journey as you when it comes to adopting a healthy diet. But there should be some, if you're lucky, you'll have someone in your life who is supporting your efforts and cheer you on. So as simple as that may sound, having a social support structure of some sort could make the difference for sustaining such a goal and not. So those concepts. Another concept is planning, and then making your own goals, maybe making little goals towards your ultimate goal that you want to achieve. So all these things may be something that people need to think through and plan and structure in order to make successful change. A lot of people lose weight, and they do that by lessening the calorie count that they're taking in, or they go on a new exercise routine. And there are a lot of ways to lose weight that are successful, but harder to maintain in the long term. So that's really why we have created a program in order to help people and guide them through the process. We also have research that shows how long it takes many people to make this change, and our program, sustainablediet.com, is 3 months long because of that. That's about how long it takes to change habits and allow our taste buds to change and actually feel some, for many people, significant improvements in their health. Then it gets exciting.
Yes, that's great information. And one of the things that you mentioned about getting support, and I've been hearing that over and over with a lot of the experts that I've been having here on the summit, how important it is to get that support system, right? Whether it's someone that you know, whether it's finding your local meetups, to be around like-minded people, so that it will help to, get your goals and give you that inspiration and continue to move forward, and someone to talk to. And another point you made too is about learning how to cook. And it doesn't have to be these extensive recipes that have all these ingredients. Sometimes just keeping it simple is the best thing to do. Have variety, right? And, just eat, like we said, eat the rainbow. And I think those are really, really great points. People being able to sustain and continue moving forward. And like you said, if it's okay, if you one day, you eat something that you didn't want to eat, or, was against what you said you would eat that day, tomorrow's a new day, or the next meal's a new meal. So you take it one meal at a time.
And you learn from yourself. The longer you go through this journey, you're learning along the way, and you're refining your own routine, and you find that those mistakes or those foods that you may not that you wish you didn't eat, if you look back a few months, you realize how I wouldn't even want to eat that now. That's funny that was calling my name then. It's not calling my name now, because a lot of this has to do with addiction and food addiction that we don't recognize, but actually that in itself is becoming a more researched topic in nutrition studies, that there's an addictive quality to food, particularly because the way we eat food parts now hits our taste buds in a much more concentrated manner than you'd find these elements in nature. For instance, sugar, concentrated simple sugars. That's hitting our taste buds and teasing our taste buds in a concentrated way that they're not designed for. And the same with fat, and the same with protein.
Yeah, and once you continue to eat those, it stays on your palate, so it's on your tongue, and you're constantly, because it at least 2 or 3 days, you still have that on your palate. So you still kind of crave that. Yeah.
Right.
So
And that does take time, and research is showing that it could take, this is what does vary for people, but to get over a sugar tolerance and addiction could take a month for on average, and oils and animal fats could take longer. It could take 3 months. Of course, those are very general numbers, but what we see in research is that it does take time to overcome physiologically the addictive qualities of food.
Yeah. So out of everything that we talked about today, what would be one thing that you would like the viewers to get out of today's conversation? If there was one thing that you can advise, what would you like for them to take away?
Well, I guess it would be food rule number one, which is the more whole plant foods in your diet, the better, on every level that we were talking about today, on a personal health level, on a global level, because the more you're eating whole plant foods, and I just want to take a second to say what whole plant foods are, but the more you're eating these foods, the more you're allowing your body to take in the proper nutrients and allow yourself to heal, the more you're crowding out the other stuff that doesn't support health, the more that you are using resources more efficiently, which preserves the environment and lessens greenhouse gas emissions. And also I should mention that the less you're inflicting harm on animals. And although we don't, in our society, we may not think of that, but very much. But in essence, we are affecting millions and billions of animals every day who have no choice in the matter but to suffer for for the ability of us eating them for no benefit, actually. So whole foods, I should just close. It's very simple. Whole plant foods means means fruits and vegetables and foods that are intact and as close to their full form as they are picked. And that, of course, would include whole grains, legumes, which includes beans and peas, and fruits and vegetables.
Oh, such a delicious diet. I love it. You just feel so good too. You feel lighter. Your mental clarity is just so much more awake, and you have more compassion. You talked a little bit about the animals and how we sometimes don't relate, this living being and the harm that we impose on the animals. And we want to be in a peaceful world, right, and have more love and more compassion, and that goes for animals and people. So thank you for
that's a lovely way to end. Thank you for that.
So I have one last question for you, a question that I've been asking all my experts, just something fun. If you were on a deserted island and you could have one fruit and one vegetable, what would you choose?
Oh dear.
I know it's hard.
Okay, well, all right, so off the top of my head, I guess it would be kale, because kale is, I don't think there is such a thing as a superfood, but kale would come close just because it's a leafy green, it's a cruciferous, it just is packed with antioxidants and chlorophyll and fiber and protein in there also. And for a fruit, I would, if it's on a tropical island, I would have whatever the local fruit is, but I don't know what that would be. So fruits are hard. I mean, I just love all fruits, so it's hard to, can I just say the one that's local?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
That's great. No, I love it. And I love kale too. Lacinato kale is actually one of my favorite of all the kales.
Which one is that? Which one is that? Is that
the lacinato is the flat leaf. It's a very dark green. It's kind of a long flat leaf. So it's not the real curly kale. But you kind of devine it and you can cut it up and massage it with some avocado and put some tomatoes in there. It's just,
you can make wraps with it.
You can make wraps with it. Yes. Kale is amazing. But I love spinach. So if I was on a deserted island, it would probably be cherries. I love cherry. And I love so many different fruits, but cherries, I love grapes too. And spinach. Absolutely love spinach. So Well, thank you so much for sharing all the wonderful knowledge that you have and all the work that you're doing to bring more awareness to this type of lifestyle, plant-based lifestyle, and how it can really transform people's life. So I know you have an amazing gift that you are offering to all of the listeners, and I believe it's a 30-day course. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Oh, I'd be happy to. Thank you for reminding me and mentioning it. Yes, we have developed a free 30-day vegan plant-based course that is based on our main 3-month course, sustainablediet.com, and we just wanted to make it available to your viewers and for people to get a taste of how simple it can be if you have a structure in order to change your diet. So we offer this as a free gift, and it's just 30 days of amazing inspiration, tips through emails, and some exercises and research, lots of resources for your viewers to use just the best, however they like. And it could be just what people need to jumpstart their own change. And we are thrilled with it. So we'll share that link with everybody and with your viewers.
Well, I'm excited myself. I definitely want to take you up on that 30 days. I think it's going to be a great way for a lot of people who have been thinking about this lifestyle but don't really know how to go about it. And so something like this is a great offer for everyone to take advantage of. So thank you so much for sharing that generous free gift.
Really excited about it too.
Yeah, Kathy, thank you so much for being on the show today. I want to thank all of the listeners for being here today as well. And please go ahead and take advantage of this great free 30-day offer that Kathy is offering to all of the listeners today. So thank you so much, Kathy, for being here and for doing all of your work. And to all of you, continue listening. We have wonderful experts that are coming up as well with more information to help you transform your life to live more vibrantly. So bye for now, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.